Today, so I can get this mic right. And I gotta do something before I really get started. I want to tell you that one of my good friends and mentors really wishes she could be here tonight. Is this one on?
Yeah.
Okay, this one's on. We need both. We need both. Fair enough. Okay. All right. Well, I do have to say a word for one of my really good friends and also a huge advocate and fighter for women's rights, Joyce Elliott.
Woo!
Joyce, she sends her regards. She is actually at another women's event this morning, and I told her I would definitely make sure to mention that she is with you in spirit and in her own way still fighting for your rights. There is the Pampered Women's Breakfast this morning, which is just, it's an event basically telling women just make sure you take care of yourself physically, mentally, and stay healthy. And she is at that event showing support for women there. So I told her that I would make sure that I put in a word for her and let you know that she is here with you in spirit and thinking about you today.
And she signed the pledge.
And she signed the pledge. So let's give it up for Joyce, a wonderful, wonderful woman and a great mentor to me. I've been sitting here trying to figure out what exactly am I going to say here. I got a call. It's been a month and a half since I got a call about this. And let me give it was David, who's standing back here somewhere in the green shirt. Over here, David, he gave me a call. He's like, Phynaus, you know, I got somebody, she's fighting for women's rights, and she needs people, that strong people to go out and fight for women's rights and sign a pledge. I was like, well, what's the pledge? He's like, the ERA. And I said, oh, absolutely, sure, just give her my phone number and tell her to give me a call. And it may have been, what, 5-10 minutes later, I get my phone ring, and I tell you what, it's very rare that people call me and that excited to talk to me. But Miss Claudia was so excited, she's like, Phynaus, I am so glad, thank you so much for doing this. I was like, hey, no problem. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, why is she so excited? Didn't everybody she called say the same thing? Yeah, absolutely, I'll sign the pledge. And apparently it's not, because we got to talking for a minute or two. She tells me that a lot of men are not standing up and fighting for women's rights, and you give them this pledge and they turn it down. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, who are these men and where do they come from? All right? Did they not have mothers? Were they somehow miraculously appeared on earth without their mother? Do they not have sisters? Do they not have wives? Do they have grandmothers and best friends? Why are they not standing up for the rights of women? So it was very, very puzzling to me that I was apparently the first person to sign the pledge as a man, the first man to sign a pledge. I found out later that a couple other gentlemen did, but we need to go out and just ask them straight up. You see them on the street, ask them, hey, why haven't you signed the pledge? This is a no-brainer. Women should be walking side by side with us in everything we do in life, not behind us. And until we are, we're going to continue to fight for women's rights. And that is the reason I'm right here. Women are not behind us. They are side by side with us in everything we do in life. Where was I here? I spent 6 years working side by side with Congressman Vic Snyder. And one of the really, really fun things and really neat things I got to be a part of was in 2009 when we passed the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. One of the issues I handled for him was labor, and this issue, you know, it kind of crossed over from women to labor, and I was very surprised at the amount of people that were against that. You know, we talked about a lot of business owners, but if you go down the Chamber of Commerce, there's just as many women in there as well, because women own businesses too. And I'm sitting there thinking, why could you sit there and walk side by side with these women in the business world, but then not support them on things like fair pay? So that was one of the really neat things I got to do when I worked beside the congressman in Congress, was I got to be there when we passed the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, and I always got to watch it on TV as the president signed that in law. So that is something that I'll always remember and hold dear to my heart. I don't know, it's been said several times, just the easy statistic about this. There are 35 states so far that have ratified the Equal Rights Amendment. Arkansas, unfortunately, that's one we need to do a little bit of work on. We've got the elections coming up very soon for the race I'm in, will be May 22nd. But when I get to that race, I'm looking forward to going out and knocking more doors and making phone calls for all those progressive candidates that want to stand up for the rights of women and everyone who's not being treated equally in the state of Arkansas.
Yeah!
Yeah!
I mentioned earlier, I spent 6 years working side by side with the congressman. And you learn a lot of lessons from folks during that time. And the most important thing I learned was, when you meet an individual, whether it be face-to-face, whether it be on the phone, or however the case may be, you can either do two things. You can try to find things you have in common with them, or you can try to find things that you have that are different. And it doesn't matter which one you try to find, you're going to find what you're looking for. And as long as we continue to do that as people, whether we be on the city level, on the state level, the national level, or internationally, we will continue to find similarities and differences. And every time we choose to find the difference, we start to hold each other back. When I was growing up, my dad always said to me, you can't hold a man down in the ditch without being down in the ditch with him. And that doesn't matter if it's a man, if it's a woman, whether they're black, they're white, whether they're Christian, Catholic, whatever the case may be. We've got to start finding those similarities between each other, because that's what keeps us strong and makes us grow as a people. Well, I think I've probably been up here long enough. I really do appreciate everyone having me here. It's been a special part. This is actually the first time I've ever got to speak to the Capitol, but I'm hoping that with all of your support, go out and tell everyone you know in North Little Rock about me. With your support, I'll get to be here many more times to speak with you at the Capitol and stand side by side with the women of Arkansas as we get you on the same equal footing that you should have been on a long time ago. Yeah. Again, everyone, thank you very much. I'm Phynaus Wilson, Mr. Phynaus Wilson. I'm running for House Representatives, District 37 in North Little Rock, and I would really, really appreciate your support. Thank you.